Okay, so yeah, the Plunderlongs, the head ball joint, it is a little problematic. Um, what I did see where these were breaking for people. As you can see, I have sanded it here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what I did, the initial head that was on the figure, I just used a blow dryer here. I used my wife's blow dryer, and I just kind of blew the air sort of like into the ball joint area, mainly from the back right there. And the heads that they came with popped off fairly well because by doing that, you're making this plastic a little more pliable. You can see I've got some of the paint here. And when these things are new, they do sometimes have little pieces of paint that will fleck off, but usually it's not a big deal. And that goes for the hands or anything else. If you collect that other action figure lines like Mythic Legions and stuff, you know you got to be a little careful out of the box with them. It really does help to soak them in some hot water, not boiling water because you don't want to damage them, but just some hot water out of the spigot. But a hairdryer does well too. If you have a heat gun, just make sure you use it on pretty low setting. But that head popped off. I didn't have any trouble feeling like I was going to break that. It did well. And then all I did was I have this sanding block here I use, and I used the fine grit part of it, and I just sanded it down a little bit. And with the blue one, I had to sand it down. It felt like a lot more. But as you can see here, it is sanded off. You don't really have to worry about the paint on this because no one should really see this when you have the head on the figure. So anyway, once you sand it down and stuff, the head does pop on fairly quick, not quickly, but easily. Can't really do it with one hand. So I'm going to pause the video and then pop the head on and just show you. I might be able to, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it with one hand, but I'll just demonstrate real quickly. And there we go. I was able to pop that one on no problem. And the only thing is if you sand it down, it does tend to lose a little bit of its grip. But I'm thinking about toying with the idea of sanding it down quite a bit. And if it ends up being a problem, it doesn't seem to be too bad. It kind of holds position fairly well. But if you sand it down too much, you can always stick a little bit of like wall putty in the ball joint or that heat shrink stuff that you put on wires. Again, you can get a whole pack of it for like $4 at Harbor Freight, and just use like should be able to use just a hair dryer or something like a heat source to shrink it on there, and that ought to provide, you know, extra little layer if you do end up sanding off too much, or like I said, use poster putty. But I found that this seems to fix the issue with that. Again, use warm water or blow dryer when loosening up these joints. I would suggest even going over the whole figure and making sure that it's a little more pliable when bending these joints. Just don't get them too warm because you don't want them so pliable. They may actually, you know, these are hinge joints. You don't want to pop, you know, have the plastic pop off the hinges. Just be gentle with them. They're like shoes. You need to break them in. I think they're great. I am absolutely loving these Plunderlongs. My only regret with the Plunderlong, Plunderstrong Kickstarters, I really should have ordered more. But alas, I only have so much money and I have to pay bills. So Lone Coconut, thank you so much. And by the way, if any of you do have trouble with these, contact Lone Coconut's customer support. They have been phenomenal. I would say better than any company I've dealt with in a long time. So I am a lifelong Plunderling fan. I've loved the line ever since I got my Nomad Goyle a couple years, I think it was a couple years ago. And I just wish I was in on the first Kickstarter because I really missed out on some. But yeah, I hope this helps you guys with your Plunderlongs. Try not to be too forceful. Don't break them. I know you're excited to get these things, but you know, treat them a little gently. These things are a little fragile. So feel free to message me with any questions or anything. I'll help you any way I can.